In this video, I'm doing a review on the Backgammon Chronicles, a pro's adventures on tour. And this is a 2-volume series. There's volume 1 and volume 2 by a good friend of mine, Robert Wachtel. This was published in 2019. Volume 1 was published in 2019. Volume 2 was also published in 2019. 2 parts, 2 volumes. Bob, for those of you that don't know him, he's one of the best backgammon players in the world, and he's been playing for a very long time. He's won lots of tournaments. He's traveled around the world. He's well known. I have played with him for over 10 years. Know him very well. Very nice person. Very interesting person. He does have a background in, I believe, literature, where he got a PhD in Canada. And now basically he writes books and plays backgammon. And these two books, the 2 volumes, is a very unique book on backgammon. Most of the backgammon books that we're used to seeing is about strategy, how to learn how to play in this area of the game or in that phase of the game or something in particular, or sometimes they're very broad topics. This one is very different. Read it here. The Backgammon Chronicles is a lush 2-volume full-color cornucopia of gambling stories, character sketches, historical essays, and tournament drama that takes the reader on an insider's odyssey through backgammon's last whirlwind decade, with its author, one of the game's elite competitors, as a guide. So I'll read something in the introduction or preface, part of why he wrote this. He said, the literature of backgammon is almost devoid of storytelling. And in publishing the Chronicles, I hope to have done a decent job of adding a little of that missing narrative element to backgammon's social profile. So this is very different. He has a lot of essays about a variety of different concepts and topics. For example, the art of chouette, how to play a chouette. A chouette is different than a typical money game, one-on-one, or a tournament match. Chouette is when you're playing with multiple different people, and it talks about what you need to do in order to adjust based on who's playing, the nature of the game, the rules of the game. Talks about the Kelly criterion, how to bet, sportsmanship. I think that's very important, and it's not talked about very much at all in backgammon books. Talks about how the computers change backgammon. So this is very interesting because way back in the 70s, when backgammon was very popular, there were no computers. We didn't have computer software. Now we have XG, neural net software, that basically solves the problem, most of the problems that we have in backgammon. So you can just put in a computer and you get the answer instantly. Back in the good old days, decades ago, they didn't have that. They used to play positions out as a proposition. One person would bet one side, one person would bet the other side, and they would play maybe 100 games to see what was the best. And after that, he has and then he talks about some online backgammon and the death of online backgammon. When online backgammon was very popular, online poker has been very popular, but then there's been a decline because of a variety of different reasons, such as laws. So he talks about all of that in the essays, and then he talks about his stories on tour. Very interesting. He's traveled around the world to very exotic places, beautiful places. He describes those. There are actually a lot of photographs. They're not the highest quality because they were taken a long time ago, but they're wonderful photographs of people, places, things you'll never see. And this is what makes it very unique. Talks about going to places like the World Series of Backgammon in Prague of 2009, playing in the Danish leagues. The Nordic Open, that's a very big tournament in Europe. He's gone to it many times. And then it's just a lot of nice information. It's a nice read. a good book to look at, to read. There's also a little bit of strategy in that. He talks about some of the positions he runs into in his various trips, and then there's analysis. I believe it's from Snowy or XG or something. There's some computer analysis, so you can actually learn something as well. But overall, it's not directly, I believe, for learning. It's about stories. Now, in volume 2, talks all about a lot of different things. I've read most of all volume 1 and most of volume 2. He talks about some of his other trips. One of the interesting one was when he was Mochi's nightmare doubles partner, when he played doubles with them, and he came up with certain good plays, but then they turned out not to work out because of what the opponents subsequently rolled. And then he talks about Denmark versus the world. That was a very good tournament they used to have at the Nordic Open, I believe, and the Monte Carlo tournament, Backgammon's Casino Royale. And then recent essays, a little bit about Paul McGreal, one of the fathers of backgammon. Some of these pictures are really, really beautiful. And you see some of the players here, some of the world's best players. You see, it's just a wonderful book. I really enjoyed it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's not a book or a volume of books on backgammon strategy, but it's really nice to read. It's enjoyable. It's a little bit different. It'll take you a little bit away from the studying of backgammon. It's something I like to put on my bedside table and read at night before I go to bed. I don't have to worry about thinking about concepts or math. It's just reading and entertainment and a little bit of learning. I definitely recommend it. You can get it on Amazon. Here it is, and you can get both of them, as well as his other book called The Language of Backgammon. And he's also written another book long time ago called In It Till the End. That one is about the end game theory. That's also a very good book. I'll hopefully do a review of that in another video, but here this talks a little bit about Bob Wachtel. He was a chess master, PhD in philosophy, accomplished game player, helping literary brains to match his computational brawn, Grandmasters second class by BMAB, Backgammon Masters Awarding Body. He's been one of the game's elite players for the last 40 years. So in the game until the end, and volume 2 of that book. So he was an editor of the US BGF flagship magazine, Primetime Magazine, from 2011 to 2019, and the author of The Language of Backgammon. That's also another book that I've been reading. Look at some of these reviews. Engaging Backgammon Tales, must read for all backgammon players. This dazzling account of author's backgammon journey is a must read. Great storytelling. He is a very good storyteller, and that makes sense because he has a background in literature. So here it is, the Backgammon Chronicles. Definitely recommend it. A Prose Adventures on Tour. There's volume 1 and volume 2. You can get them both on Amazon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.